Welcome to Lighting for Profits with Ryan Lee, your number one source for all things landscape lighting. From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing, we discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
Welcome to the number one lighting show in the world, Lighting for Profits, here on Turfs Up Radio. Guys, I'm super excited to be with you today. My name is Ryan Lee, and I'm the host of Lighting for Profits. If you are looking to start or grow your landscape lighting business, then you are definitely in the right place. We got a good one for you today. Today's show, we're going to have a good friend of mine. He's a friend, he's an associate, he's someone I look up to. He was my most successful referral partner. John Caldwell with J. Caldwell Custom Pools, located in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm excited to have him on. And if you don't know what a referral partner is, then stick around, because we're going to talk to him about that and talk to him about his experience with landscape lighting, about working with a lighting contractor. And, John's just one of those guys that he flies a bit under the radar. But today I'm going to get him to share some of his secrets for success, okay? And I'm excited because he has a few different perspectives that he's going to be able to share with us. One, he's a friend. Two, he's a homeowner, okay? He's a client. He's actually purchased landscape lighting. And he's a referral partner. He owns a business. He owns a pool company. He's a luxury pool builder, right? And so he's had experiences including landscape lighting in his project. So I'm super excited to have him on. And we're going to welcome him to the show in just a few minutes. Before we get started, I want to just remind you guys of a couple things. I got coming up the end of July. Come see me at the Holiday Bright Lights Holiday Kickoff event in Tampa. Okay, it's July 29th, 30th, and 31st. And by the way, you got to go register for that event. Get your tickets, get your hotel, get it now, because it's only a month away. And I think they still have a price break on tickets and rooms and everything else just for like a day or so left. So go to holidaybrightlights.com and get your tickets for that. And, if you're looking to learn more about Christmas lights or even get into the industry, it's going to be a great event. So I want to thank you guys for your support. Lately, I don't know what it is, but I've just been filled with so much gratitude. I've always been one of those guys that's been grateful for clients. I remember my first landscape lighting client. I remember my first a lot of things, right? But I'm always grateful for clients, because the next client means that you get to keep moving forward, right? And I appreciate your guys' support, because I absolutely love what I'm doing. This show is amazing. I love being a business coach for the lighting industry, and I couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you so much for your support. And I want to remind you that I do have a free Facebook group. In fact, a lot of people keep reaching out, and they're trying to join Landscape Lighting Secrets. It's a private Facebook group. And unfortunately, it's reserved for paid members of the coaching program. So I can't let you in there. But I do have a free group. So go to Landscape Lighting Mastermind on Facebook. And that's a free group. And you have to be a business owner. You don't have to have a landscape lighting company yet. You could be doing you could be an electrician, you could be a landscaper, you could be doing Christmas lights, you could be doing anything, but you do have to be a business owner to be able to join that group. So go to Landscape Lighting Mastermind, and it's a free private Facebook group that I've got. So real quick, I want to tell you this story before we have John on. The other day, I think this was Sunday, I had the Cubs game on while I was cooking dinner, and man, it was only like the first or second inning. And I actually really like baseball. And by the way, if you don't like baseball, stick around. Don't get bored by this story. I'm going to get to the punchline quick, right? Because I know there's kind of like people that love baseball and people that hate it. But I promise this will help you. This will apply to you. This will help you in your business. I had the Cubs game on, and it was only like the first or second inning. And before you know it, bases are loaded. And the Cubs pitcher, sure enough, I'm sitting there cooking. I wasn't really watching. I didn't see it happen, but I heard the crack of the bat. Grand slam against the Cubs. Oh my gosh. It's like, come on. I swear it might have been the first inning, might have been the second, but it was early. I'm like, come on. Who does that? It was devastating. It's like you give up a home run and, maybe down one run or whatever. That's one thing, but to be down 4 just like that is is, man, that's got to be hard as a baseball player to want to keep moving forward, right? And what was interesting and what I want to share with you is this. The first commentator says, oh, yeah, that was a bad pitch, poor location, of the pitch, of course. And starts talking about pitch location. And Alex Rodriguez, okay, this is the guy with years of experience. He cuts in, he says, you know what? It wasn't the pitch. And it wasn't even the home run that was the problem. The problem was the mistakes that led up to it. Okay, that pitcher had gotten himself in a bind and, had someone walked up there and crushed one out of the park and got one run. Well, that's not that big of a deal. You can overcome that, right? But he had walked somebody. The next guy he hit the guy, and then he walked another one. 3 walks in a row, bases loaded. I mean, it's really hard to get a grand slam with no one on base. I'm just saying, right? And so the reason I want to share this with you, this experience, because when I heard him say this, I immediately thought of business. I was like, holy cow, this is amazing, because this is exactly what happens in business. Something bad happens, right? Something goes wrong, and we immediately blame the very last thing that happened. So there's a lot of examples of this, but one comes to mind. Let's say an employee messes up. You've got an employee and he makes the customer upset, whether it's something he said, something he didn't say, something he did do, something he didn't do, right? If you have a business and you have employees, you've had this experience, okay? And it's easy to be like, man, what were you thinking? Why did you say that? Why didn't you say that? Why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? But in reality, was it that pitch? Was it that one thing that happened? Or was it the several mistakes that led up to it? Okay, there's a lot of examples of mistakes that could lead up to this stuff. It could be, did they show up 15 minutes late, for the install or for the sales appointment? Were they not taking care of the installation? I mean, was stuff spread all over the yard? Was it organized? Did they let the dog out of the backyard? Being messy. Okay, maybe even their appearance. Appearance is a big one. Were they smoking? Or is it because they kept messing up in front of the client? Or maybe they weren't properly trained. Maybe it was you that needs to take accountability because you didn't train them properly, right? And so, and it could go even before that. Maybe it's because you bumped the install a couple times, and so that customer's already on edge, and so it's just one thing after another, and that's just like putting someone on base, and then another, and then another, and then all of a sudden you give up that grand slam, right? And you lose the game, not because of that one thing, but because of all the mistakes that went into it. Another example, okay, and this happens, I promise this happened to me, and I guarantee it's happening to you. It's happened to you, right? When you go to close a sale and you don't get it, and maybe because we're talking about a grand slam, a home run, let's talk about a bigger job. So maybe for you, a big job's $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, doesn't matter, right? Could be $1 million. You have this opportunity and you don't get it. It's like the equivalent of giving up a grand slam. The first thing you think of is what? If you're like 99% of the population, you think, I was overpriced. I charged too much. And maybe the client even told you that, okay? Because I've had clients tell me that, oh, you were more, and then that's the reason. But honestly, is that the reason? I don't think so. That wasn't the reason you lost that job. Was it that you didn't do a good enough job building value? Okay, I could see that being it. Maybe you forgot to mention things in your sales presentation because you don't have a dialed in, polished sales presentation. Maybe you didn't build enough rapport, right? And so maybe you were late to the appointment. Okay, maybe you've already rescheduled it a couple times. Maybe it was your appearance. Maybe they were expecting you to come in a collared shirt and you were in a t-shirt. Okay, I've been guilty of that. Maybe you were in shorts and you should have been in pants, right? Maybe you didn't pre-qualify like you should have done. And maybe it was even before that. Maybe you didn't have a fully wrapped truck. Maybe they didn't trust you, right? Maybe they didn't, maybe they checked out your reviews and you only had a few 5-star reviews and a couple of 2, 3, 4 stars in there, right? Maybe it was a crappy website. So here's what I want to get through to you is don't get in the habit of just trying to address the immediate issue that comes up, and understand, just like Alex Rodriguez shared in his commentary, it wasn't the home run. It wasn't the fact that it was just that one bad pitch. It was all those other mistakes that led up to it. And so I want to encourage you guys, as you continue to grow your business, as you put yourself out there, as things come up, and they're going to, okay, it's never going to be perfect. Write these things down and really kind of do a synopsis and run through these things and figure out, where did it first go off track? Because it wasn't the last thing that made that customer go crazy, right? It was usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things way ahead of that set this train off track well before, right? And just remember, you can't give up a grand slam if no one is on base. Okay. So minimize those mistakes. And I promise you guys, if you do that and you minimize those mistakes throughout your journey of going from operator to owner, you're going to give up less home runs, and you're going to get a lot more victories taking you to that championship, right? So you guys have heard the saying, the devil's in the details. I think you have. If you haven't, you just did. So one small mistake may not seem like that big of a deal right now to you. Maybe it's an employee complaining and you're like, I'll deal with him later, or, I'll be a better trainer. I'll be a better manager later. I don't have time for that right now. And so you're not going to stop the whole operation just because of this one little mistake, this one little problem, right? But I'm telling you, you get a few of them strung together and bam, grand slam, right? And these are the grand slams. This is not offense. This is defense, right? So you're not wanting to give up these grand slams. So I promise you guys, take the time to consider what mistakes you're making today that you can work on to help eliminate those grand slams, because you can deal with the base hit. You can even deal with a solo home run. You can deal with things that go bad in your business. People are doing it every day. You're doing it now, right? But it's a lot harder to recover after you've given up a grand slam. And you think about it from a sports standpoint. I mean, athletes, they have great mindsets. That's one of the reasons why they're great athletes. Of course, they're strong and powerful and all that, but their mindsets are great. So they're able to they're able to kind of see past that grand slam, but I promise you it still affects them. When they're down 4-0 just like that in the first or second inning, it's a lot harder to be motivated to be like, let's go play hard today, guys. You're just like, crap, we just lost this game. And I know they've got strong mindsets. That's why they're athletes. So they don't think like that, but they do. It enters their mind and they're able to get past that. Whereas if you're like that and you're like, oh man, that just happened, I'm screwed, what am I going to do? Then that can start the downward spiral. But by the way, it does work the other way as well. So, we talk about a grand slam is like giving up a grand slam, but it's fun to hit grand slams. I've never hit one. I only hit one home run in my life playing men's softball about 4 years ago. And I think the only reason I got a home run because it was super windy outside and it was coming from behind me. So I got that ball in the air and it went over. So I felt pretty good about that, obviously, because I'm having to brag about it now, my one home run. But it's exciting to get home runs and grand slams and see that in baseball, right? And, in business, and I'm going to talk about this really kind of on a whole nother episode, but in business, it's not really about getting that grand slam. It's a bunch of base hits. It's the little things you do to get people on base so that you can get a home run when bases are loaded that get you that grand slam. So it's the little things, guys, I'm telling you, that make a huge, huge difference. So I think we are about ready. Let me see. Yeah, we're about ready to welcome our guest for the day. See, one of the nice things about not having a producer is I mess up on almost every show. Listen, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to welcome my guest, John Caldwell with J. Caldwell Custom Pools. And I'm excited, guys, because he's going to break down some sales tips for us. The rumor has it he can sell ice to an Eskimo. So we're going to ask him about that and see what tips he can give us. So, guys, stick around, and we're going to be right back.
Do you hear that? It's quiet. No sounds of anger, attempts to throw a phone or computer out the window, or annoyance trying to change your business to make it fit into a software program. Crew Control just works. It's easy to do your scheduling. You can be up and running in less than a day. It's got everything you need and nothing you don't. Give it a try for yourself with our 2-week free trial. crewcontrol.com. That's crewcontrol.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Brooke Ford, host of The Green Veteran here on Turf's Up Radio. Be sure to check me out every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. You're going to hear some great one-on-one interviews with green industry professionals. We're going to talk about best business practices, highlight innovative products, and also provide some insight into some new emerging technologies in the field. That's the Green Veteran, airing each Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And remember, Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Hey, landscape pros, are you tired of digging through rocks and roots and breaking shovels in the process? Then it's time you checked out the Geo Ripper 616. It's a landscaper's dream with the Makita 6 Series 2-cycle engine producing over 4 horsepower of raw performance. The 616 digs deep in up to 16 inches of the toughest soils. Lighting, landscape, and irrigation contractors already love this improved lightweight trencher with its ability to get in and get out faster, easier, and with less ground disturbance. And you will too. This redesigned Geo Ripper 616 comes with 2 heavy-duty digging chains and a whole mess of helpful extras. To learn more about the Geo Ripper and how it can help you out in the field, visit georipper.com today.
Hey, lawn and landscape pros, don't turn your lights off after fall. Turn on the lights and start making money during the holidays this winter. Twist on a money-making bulb and join Turfs Up Radio at the Holiday Bright Lights Christmas Kickoff 2021, July 29th through the 31st in Tampa, Florida. Increase your experience through networking. Learn on-site about RGB and Twinkly Pro technology. Meet decorators and leaders in the holiday light industry and much more. Don't be left in the dark. Learn how pros all across the country have already started making more money after fall with Holiday Bright Lights. To register, visit holidaybrightlights.com/Christmas-kickoff. That's holidaybrightlights.com/Christmas-kickoff.
All right. It is time to welcome our guest. I want to welcome to the show Mr. John Caldwell with J. Caldwell Custom Pools. What's going on, John?
No, not much. How are you, Ryan?
Man, I'm doing awesome. Thanks so much for coming on here. I know you love live events. Anytime you can get a speaking engagement, you're the guy just raising his hand.
Can you see me shaking?
I really am so grateful because
Yes.
I know this is not your thing, but I know I just know that you've got so much that you can add to the conversation. So thank you for being willing to come on here.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, buddy. I really do.
So I got to ask you, we were talking about the weather earlier. It's like 90 degrees here. What's the weather like in Texas today?
We woke up to some kind of morning storms, super high humidity, kind of took us for a loop for a couple hours, but we got back on the jobs and kept going. So we're working. It's hot. It's humid. The sun's shining now. Texas heat, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not any fun, but it is what it is.
Yeah, right. I love so many things about Texas. I really do. I mean, we lived there for 13 years, fell in love with the people and a lot of things about it. The one thing I never fell in love with was the summer heat.
I know. Yeah. It's definitely hard to deal with, and we've I like the heat better than I like the cold. But you know, in swimming pools and lighting and landscaping and all that stuff, it definitely plays a huge part for our industry. So
Yeah, it really does. I mean, when we first moved down there, we didn't have a pool, didn't get one or anything like that. But literally after you only need a couple summers there to really one summer to realize, okay, you need a swimming pool. So it's great for the industry. I'm sure it's great for your business. And I always gauged our lighting business like, okay, how many swimming pools are people building? Because if that's up, then we're up. If that's down, we're going to be down, you know?
Yeah, it kind of falls, one after another. It's like the pool guy comes in and the landscape guy comes in, and oh my gosh, I can't see my landscape when the lighting goes, or when the sun goes down, and then the lighting guy comes in.
Right.
Changes
Exactly.
changes the whole deal for sure.
Well, I could have made a lot more money selling lighting if you weren't so good at selling high-end luxury swimming pools. That's for sure.
Well, you've told me that 1,000 times, and I totally understand it. But no, for sure, I completely understand.
So we got started. What year did you get started? Because I feel like we started our businesses actually around the same time.
We did. I've been in the swimming pool business my whole life. Essentially, my family was in the pool business, and we started J. Caldwell Pools in I guess it would have been 07, 08 kind of timeline. So right around the same time you guys kind of got going.
Yep. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So kind of hit the ground running, right?
So yeah, I've always admired your business because I don't know your books or anything like that, but just from an outside perspective, it seems like you've had year over year growth. I'm sure you've had, challenges and issues and stuff internally, but from a outsider's perspective, it's like, man, he keeps killing it, doing it right. You're up to 4. You got 4 sales girls now?
We actually have 5 sales girls, all girls. So we're up to 5, and then we've got actually brought in a new girl in our remodel side. So we've got 2 sales, 1 male, 1 female over in remodel.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
and what's crazy is I preach this message of like, if you want to scale, if you want to grow, you need to invest back into your business and advertise, and you can't just do it by word of mouth. But you are like the 1% of the 1% that I feel like has been able to grow and scale your business without really doing any advertising. I mean, every year it's like word of mouth, referral, all this stuff. So I want to kind of pick your brain on that. How have you been able to do that?
Ryan, I tell this story all the time, and to people that work around me probably get tired of hearing the same story.
Hopefully they're not listening.
Right. But at the end of the day, we never started out to be the biggest pool company in Fort Worth, Texas. What we did want to do is sort of do it right. And I felt like the aftercare of the pool, and sometimes that means spending money on things that went wrong, or fixing something that maybe isn't 100% our problem, but maybe it makes the homeowner super happy. And what we found out, and I've told people this, is you can spend your money on a billboard sign and get a constant fee to work if you want. If you want to spend your money taking care of your customer in the aftercare, they're going to spread the word for you. So it's just kind of which direction. I don't know that there's a right or a wrong, but it's the direction that we chose. And to this day, we keep our guys outfitted in shirts and keep our trucks nice and neat and clean and wrapped. But other than that, we don't have a whole lot of advertising out there. We've jumped in a few high-end deals here in the last couple of years, but those are really because we get invited in them, and those are honestly are part of the neighborhoods and the things that we build in, and they kind of don't give us a choice. You know what I mean? They're like, you're going to do this ad with us because everybody loves you guys. So that's sort of our deal.
That's awesome. That's great advice. And I've witnessed that actually firsthand, of you kind of making things right, like you said, that really weren't your fault. And I've learned from that because I'm too stubborn, and I've learned a lot from you. I've learned over the years that sometimes it's just better to pay the $2,000 and fix something, even though it wasn't your fault. It had nothing to do with you. And I've seen you do that. And that's one of the hardest things, at least for me, to be able to do that. So
yeah, it's tough. It's business is about having a conscience, and I've built my business on my conscience. And if I go to bed at night and don't feel good about something, I try to address it the next day. And whether it's, a money making deal or a money losing deal, I try to address it the same way.
Yeah. Very cool. So I hope you don't mind me bringing this up. When we, I don't remember exactly when it was, a couple of years after we got started in business and we were kind of working together. You got this Lakehouse.
Yep.
And my immediate thought was like, oh, here's one of those guys, spending all his profits, he's going to be bankrupt and all this and that. And what was cool was, the only reason I bring this up is because you got this Lakehouse, and I'm sure part of your agenda was to have fun and have a lake house or whatever, but you were able to capitalize on that. And I'm pretty sure that lake house that you bought has got you millions of dollars worth of pools by having that. So how did buying a lake house affect your business?
Well, as you know, because you followed us out there to a lot of jobs on the lake that we're talking about, and we started running, or I started, Taylor and I. We started running back and forth out there, and it was remote, so it was an hour and a half drive each way, and then what you figure out is you start to meet people, and you start to get around the lake. And then, as you just said, the fun side of it is, oh man, I want a lake house for my family to grow up around, and for us to have some fun and boat and do those things. The second piece of it was it gave me some flexibility to have a place to stay when I was up there working. For the first 4 or 5 years, our service side stayed there at the house a lot of nights to be able to get a fresh start in the morning and hit the ground running. You have people that, it's their lake house as well. So any meeting that they want to have, they're like, we're coming from West Texas and we're happy to meet you on Saturday morning at 7 a.m.
Right.
So, it's like, oh my gosh. So it's not as bad when you're already there, if you've got to run over and do a couple of meetings. And then just the mere fact of, for the first several years, and I put Majestic sign on the end of the dock right beside my J. Caldwell pool sign. You guys lit the house up and people drove by and were like, oh my gosh, your lighting is unbelievable. So the fact, and I think it gives people satisfaction in knowing that the lake is very remote. So no one hardly lives there full time, and people want to know you're out there and you're going to address, whether it be good or bad. If they want to know if you're coming to sell them something, or they want to know if you're coming to fix something. So we spun it into that, and you're 100% right. It's one of our best markets. It's a hard market to work in because it is remote. The terrain is tough. The meeting times are tough. But people it's been a really, really good deal for us.
That's awesome. And the reason why I really wanted to bring that up is because you like to have fun like anybody else, right? But you're able to use that as an investment and not just as an expense of like, oh, you could justify a lake house just to grow up and have memories with the family and stuff. There's no problem with that, but you're able to use it as part of your business strategy as well. So, I think it's a great message, and it's inspired me. I hope that other people are utilizing the same way. You can go out to a baseball game, but invite someone and talk business, you could do a lot of different things where you can have fun and grow your business at the same time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And there's been times in the last, 10 years that I've had the house that you spend half your Saturday running around meeting people, and you're like, oh my gosh, did I make a mistake, buying a house right here with my client base. But if you look at the numbers and you get over the having to get out of bed at the lake at 6 o'clock in the morning and run appointments half the day, you get through that part and you see the clarity. It makes total sense. So,
yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a minute about landscape lighting. When did you know, whether it's a homeowner or a contractor, when did you find out that landscape lighting was a thing?
I think where we started with the landscape lighting thing was step lighting, and with the pool decks and things, and we started kind of seeing, people would ask about step lights because of safety reasons, and then once you get the pool done and you look out there and you've got the lights in the pool going, and unfortunately in swimming pool world, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but unfortunately, there's not a real good effective way to light up the architecture of the pool. Yeah, all the manufacturers light up the water. I mean, that's like pool lighting 101, right? But the walls and the steps and the landscaping and all the stuff that you and your brother came up with, and downlighting, raised beams and downlighting water features and things, because there isn't a good way to do it from inside the pool. But I think it really, really started on step lighting, and then you see the beauty of that and you think, oh my gosh, what else can we do here? And then it just, then you guys come in and just take control of the whole property.
Yeah. And we had great success. Just kind of share this for those listening. really partnering up with John in a way where we didn't try to get them to sell landscape lighting up front. I mean, if someone gave them a $200,000 budget for a pool, well, we wanted them to sell them a $250,000 pool, right? I mean, we wanted them to maximize that budget. And people who are building, $200,000-$300,000 pools, they don't typically run out of money. So they might run out of money for, that bucket, like that particular project. But we would go in later and right before they're getting ready to pour the flat work and the steps and everything, it's like, hey, what do you guys want to put some step lights in? And they're like, well, I don't know, should we do that? And so we go meet with them and say, yeah, here's the quote. They kind of have to decide by Thursday because that's when they're pouring. And so we run over there and get those in there. And then, like you said, as soon as those come on at night, when they get start enjoying the pool and it gets dark earlier, it's like, crap, we need to light up this landscaping and everything else. So it worked out really, really well.
Yeah. And you guys did a great job. I appreciate all the compliments coming our way, but the idea for us in connecting with specifically Majestic, because that's who we've been with kind of since day one, was that we sort of would get, we kind of plant the seed. And then, you can take the step lighting deal and lots of pool decks don't have steps and that you guys still did, lighting on. But if you take the high end jobs that have lots of elevation and lots of grade change and lots of different layers all we had to do was get you guys in front of the homeowner. And you remember back in the demo days, when you guys go out and light up the whole yard basically on top of the ground, which is where you got started. And that's what it took. It took the extra work and took the extra time, but you got your foot in the door. And how does the homeowner look out there after you drive away that night and see what you guys did, even though it's not even theirs yet? I mean, how do they not want some of it, if not all of it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, it just comes in. And I mean, the biggest thing, and again, it goes back to yours and Justin's conscience of, we used a couple of, we were exposed to several different lighting companies because builders had their light guys and homeowners, no, we are going to use this guy. And we would, pry against that and say, look, if you use our guy, here's what I'm going to tell you. He's going to answer his phone because these lights are not going to work all the time. Okay. There is going to be a problem. It's not when, or it's not if, it's just when, right? And the same for our pools. That's half the battle is going back afterwards, as you well know, taking care of the little things.
Yeah. I love it, man. And that's great advice because some people are like, preaching perfection and you're never going to have an issue in a lifetime warranty. Is like, hey, you're just setting yourself up for failure, possibly 2 days later. You don't ever know. So, Hey, so I got to take a quick break, but I've got like 4 million more questions for you. So please stick around and then we'll come right back. All right.
All right.
Okay, guys, stick around. We got just a couple, probably 2 minutes worth of commercials and we'll be right back. You like that country for you down there in the South?
Are you a military family with a spouse on deployment away from home? Did you know that nonprofit Project Evergreen has thousands of volunteers across the country ready to help military families with lawn, landscape, and snow removal services? We call it Green Care and Snow Care for troops. If you are a military family and would like to receive this free service, or if you'd like to volunteer to help, visit projectevergreen.org. Project Evergreen, creating a greener, healthier, cooler Earth, 1 yard at a time.
Hey everybody, this is Hecubus from the Nightcap. I'm just sitting here relaxing within the vault with my friends and a tasty, tasty pint. You should stop by and listen in sometime. I'm here every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, live only on Turf's Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Attention all veterans. Have you heard about Turf's Up Radio's Jobs for Vets program? If you are looking for a job and you're interested in working in the landscape and snow removal profession, there just might be a company in your local area that is looking to hire. All you have to do is send us your resume at jobsforvets@turfsupradio.com. That's jobsforvets@turfsupradio.com. Turf's Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The Weekend Review.
The Weekend Review. The Weekend Review.
Join King Darren and all of your favorite Turfs Up radio hosts, including Hecubus, Eric, the Turf Teacher Jones, Brian.
My name is not Brian.
Ryan Lee, Wayne the Prophet Bowles,
One opportunity.
his son Daniel, Ford the Green Veteran,
Giddy up.
and many more. Join us live as we unpack the week and share what you may have missed live on Turfs Up Radio. That's the Weekend Review, Saturdays, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Yeah. Oh,
Welcome back to Lighting for Profits. I'm Ryan Lee, your host here on Turfs Up Radio. I'm joined with Mr. John Caldwell of J. Caldwell Custom Pools in Fort Worth, Texas. Welcome back, John. I wanted you to feel at home with this music here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, man, went to the rodeo the other night, got dressed up in my boots. It felt good, Felt like I was back home in Texas.
Yeah. Did you stop and get you a can of snuff before you went?
Well, yeah. So let's talk about, we're talking lighting and partnerships and stuff like that. You mentioned, you've worked with other lighting companies a little bit and stuff like that, but
yeah.
Why did partnering with Majestic make so much sense for you as a luxury pool builder at the time?
And this may not be the answer that you want to hear, but I think it was really the aftercare. That's the main thing is I think there's lots of lighting guys out there that know how to stick a light on a tree. And I think that you and your brother bent the rules. And I think that there was attaching lights to places that no one thought about, shooting across this area to light up things, the water features of the pool, or to downlight things. And I think the typical landscape lighting guy came out and wanted to put uplights where uplights were supposed to go, and put path lights along paths, and so I think the creativity that you guys had against what everybody else was out, but more than that was you answering your telephone when there was an issue, because again, there's always going to be one of those deals.
That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. And I know even when I would call on other pool builders or landscapers or home builders, whatever, and they go, "Oh, we got a lighting guy," I'd say, "Hey, no problem. I get it. If you're loyal, you're loyal." Because I wouldn't expect if a lighting company called you and they're like, "Hey, can we use you?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure." Like, okay, what's going on here? But I said I would ask them, do you mind if I just keep in touch with you and maybe follow up with you in 6 months? Because
Sure.
I knew that they could. Most companies are not capable of exhibiting that level of service day after day, month after month, year after year. And we ended up, growing our business through that. So I think, like you said, that aftercare, that willingness to go the extra mile for your customers is going to help grow your business perhaps more than anything else, And you're a prime example of it.
Yeah. It goes back to, every employee, every contractor, every sub relationship I have, my first and foremost is trying to figure out, does this person have a conscience? And it's what it really amounts to me. And people are like, "Man, you're hung up on this conscience deal." And I'm like, if your homeowner's calling you over and over and over, and you can stick your phone in your pocket and silence it, sure, there's going to be times you're in meetings. There's times that you've got family, your son's baseball game or something like that going on, or you're at dinner. But at some point, you've got to pick your phone up and respond to them. And if you're the guy that can go to bed and just not worry about it, then you're probably not going to take your business as far as you might be able to.
Yeah.
If it bothers you. And that was one of the deals with my business and with yours and Justin's is, you guys would address the issues whether they were fun or not.
Right. Yeah.
So
even if we didn't want to, and trust me,
100%. I wake up every day with a pile of them and I'm like, oh my gosh, why did we do this way? And you just learn from it, so it's one of those deals.
How about, obviously when we at some point you gave us an opportunity, we did it and we did a good enough job to keep that relationship, but just getting started, if there's someone listening who's like, man, I don't know, I tried calling this guy and he would be a really good fit, but I don't know, any advice like how they could get their foot in the door? How do you get your foot in the door with builders? Because I know we call it different things. I think I call it a referral partner program, but
Sure.
you've networked with great home builders and you've done something right to get your foot in the door. So it's obviously easier now that you've developed a name, but no one knew who John Caldwell was before,
That's right. Yeah. I think it all starts with doing things you don't want to do. And, you guys started by demoing lights, and I can assure you that you nor your wife enjoyed you being out till 9 or 10 o'clock, 4 or 5 nights a week, setting up lights in people's homes for them to tell you, no, we're not interested. We love the lights, wish they were ours, but we're not, going to pay for them. And same for us. I mean, we beat on a lot of builders' doors and told them what we thought and told them how we would do it. And a lot of them told us, get lost. We're using this guy we have forever. I think people talk, as you well know, and I think the word gets spread. We've prided ourselves, probably 50 to 60, maybe even 70% of our business, even today, is following new home builders, home remodelers, landscapers around, and doing going in behind them with them kind of plugging in our company name to the homeowner. And I think that, a lot of that, there's hurdles, when you got 2 or 3 different trades working on a job. And I mean, there's been times where your crews have showed up on our jobs and the job wasn't ready quite yet for you. And you've had to reschedule, and you've had to jump through some hoops and plug another job in that might have been ready and get a hold of that homeowner when they didn't think they were on the schedule. But it's all the part of everybody working together and doing things you don't want to do. And some pool builders are out there and they say, I don't want to work for home builders because everything has to go their way 100% of the time. And you know what? That's right. They're the boss. You're working for them. So that's the relationship, unfortunately, that we have, is we don't get to tell the home builder. He's the one that got us the job. When he tells us be there, we need to be there. So, it just goes back to, doing those things to get going and get a good stance with all these guys that you're working for.
Yeah. And seriously, man. And I know I keep complimenting you, but seriously, like, you were a prime example of that. And you could, be like, screw home builders, whatever. But then screw, what'd you say, 50, 60, 70% of your business?
Yeah,
that was what you're willing to do, just because you want to get in a pissing match with them, or you want to just figure out a way to work with them.
That's right. Yep. And we've I go into new home builders all the time. You and I, you helped me kind of start our builder referral program. And I go in there and I tell them, we understand how to work for home builders. And some of them look at me like I'm crazy because they don't really understand, but there's a language that a home builder speaks. And, they don't want to get thrown under the bus in front of the homeowner, nor do we. And so you got to stick together. You've got to be there when you say you're going to be there. You've got to make sure that you don't leave the homeowner in a pickle. I had a home builder back in the day that told homeowners, if you want to build a pool while the house is under construction, you use this guy. Otherwise, you use anybody you want after you close on the house. And, that got us a lot of jobs because people want one mess to clean up, not, one get done, move in, and have one more mess start, day 2 after we close.
That's awesome. It actually reminded me of when we'd go in after you guys would refer us. Okay. We would go in, and I had people tell me this. So somebody there, whether it was you or one of your superintendents or whatever, but we'd go in there and they would tell us, like, I'd be like, all right, you guys ready to move forward? And they're like, well, we kind of have to. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, these guys spoke so highly of you. They basically told us, like, if you don't go with them, then, they're the only ones we want digging around our pool lines and all this other stuff. And it made it so easy to close the deal because they trusted you. When someone buys from you, they have to know, like, and trust you. They knew you, they liked you, they trusted you. So when you said we were great, it was kind of like we were going to get the deal unless we did something to screw it up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. It makes a huge difference when people know that you can they can call you and you're going to answer your phone. And homeowners like the two different companies in the backyard liking each other and knowing each other, and they're who's going to handle this. You don't need to get involved. We've got it. They ran through this wire that runs the pool computer. What are y'all going to do to fix it? We got it handled. We'll handle this behind the scenes. So partnering with other trades, and it gives a homeowner, I think, a very, very, they go to bed at night and go, you know what, let them work it out. We don't need to get involved.
It's right. Yeah. It's like bringing in the dream team. You got the pool builder, the landscaper, the lighting guy, and they love it. And, it usually comes from the top. Like the builder usually refers you, then you usually refer the landscaper and the lighting guy and stuff like that. Occasionally people would be like, hey, can you guys build us a pool? And we're like, no, but John can. But that didn't happen a lot. It was more the other way around. So we have a referral partner program where we do commissions and stuff like that, because one reason some people are like, no, don't give me anything. It's like, well, yeah, but you're going to have to answer that phone call that says my lights aren't coming on. And I don't want you being like at some point ever going, man, let's just not refer lighting anymore. I'm sick and tired of getting these calls, where if you're getting paid for it, it's like, hey, this fits our model,
Right. 100%. Yeah. You've got to know who you're working with. I mean, there's no, you know that more than anybody.
So we've got a few more minutes. I want to ask you about your business. I guess, someone told me, it might've been my brother. I don't know. They're like, yeah, John, he could sell ice to an Eskimo, and you're a good salesperson. As far as I know, you don't have schooling or formal sales training, anything like that, do you?
I don't.
So what is
I barely made it through high school.
Had to bribe some people and do some payoffs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
what is your secret?
Well, I don't know that I've got a secret. I do have the conscience thing. And if I tell a homeowner I'm going to do something, it's going to happen. And that's just one of the things that has built my business. And, when I first got started in business, I would set appointments and meeting times that I didn't want to do. But it glued me to working hard. And if a homeowner, said, hey, I can't do my pool walkthrough until 8:00 on Friday, that was like the absolute worst time that I wanted to meet.
Right.
But I would make it work. And what I found out is the more of those that I did and the more I hated it, the more they liked it and told everybody about me.
Nice.
And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know that I have any special sales, tactics or anything like that. I probably bend more than I should. But at the end of the day, I think it's truly doing what you say you're going to do. And never forgetting that they're the customer. And those are the most cliche things to say in the world. But I think those things, people veer away from that and they think that they're running the show. And, I tell my employees every day, I'm not the boss. The homeowner's the boss. So I get to tell you where we've got to be because they're telling me where we got to be. And if you just look at that and you tell your employees we're partners, we're working on this together, for sure my name gets to be plastered on the side of the truck. And does that make me make a little more money? Yeah, for sure it does. But it also gives me the risk and the liability and everything else that comes with the name on the truck, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I don't know. I was thinking as you were talking about that, you're very authentic, So I would say be authentic, because that's what you are when you're telling people I'm going to take care of you. And people say that, but I think you're genuine. People truly believe that. If you're giving them the sales pitch and they're like, well, what happens if this happens? And you're like, well, I'll just take care of it. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty normal answer, but I think that it comes across in a different way coming from you because you've actually been an example of that. You actually do what you say. You're not just, blowing smoke.
100%. I mean, I've had homeowners that have said, so-and-so told me they've never had a cracked pool. And my response to that is they may not have now. It's just when it's coming,
right.
You're going to get something, right? You're going to be like you saying, I've never had a light go out. And it's one of those deals that if people ask me, what are the problems that I'm going to have with this pool, I'll name them off to you before you ever sign a contract with me. Is, look, these are the things you're going to see that are going to happen. And this is what you've got to do to fix them, or what we've got to do to fix them, whichever way you want to look at it. But the long term, these are the things that this pool that's going to go wrong. Okay. Not all the time, but can, so yeah. It's just one of those things. And if you can be upfront and if you, and I will tell you that it hasn't always been that way. When you're trying to build a business, you're scared to tell people, we may dig your pool and it may rain all night long and we may have to come back and dig it again because it may all fall in. These days, we're established to the point that we're able to be straight up and just say, look, if this happens, this is what we're going to do to address it.
That's awesome, man. Well, the time always goes by quick. I appreciate you coming on here because there's so many, you've said so many things today that have reminded me why I like you so much. You're a great example to really any small business owner. So I hope guys are taking notes and going to apply what they've learned, because you've done a fantastic job, even though you barely graduated high school. Okay. You've killed it, man. You've done such a good job. And I want to let everyone know that you do work all over the country. I know there's times when you've been in all sorts of different states building pools. So is there any final advice you want to leave, or just remind people how they can get a hold of you? You don't have to give out your cell phone or anything, but
no, just J. Caldwell Custom Pools in Fort Worth, Texas, and we're all over the internet, we appreciate I appreciate the invite coming on, and have a great deal of respect for what you've done and what your brother's done in the lighting world, and for a couple of guys that didn't know anything about lighting, got in it and made it, and again, I think it was based on not you knowing everything about lighting, but you knew about customers and you knew how to stick to it until the job was done and make it right.
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate the friendship. I've always appreciated our relationship and stuff. And thanks again for taking the time. I know it's not one of your favorite things. So
no, you're good. Yeah. Likewise.
We got a ton out of it. Okay. You're awesome, man.
All right.
All right, guys, stick around. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to, of course, leave today with my lighting tip of the week. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jeff Hester, senior contributor and co-host of the Weekend Review here on Turfs Up Radio. Can't make it to major green industry events, but want to stay connected? Don't worry, we have you covered. Be sure to download the Turfs Up Radio app or visit our website. We'll bring you the live coverage you need to keep you up to date with everything that happens in our industry. And to find out where we'll be next, simply visit greenindustryevents.com. That's greenindustryevents.com. And always remember, Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
We want to thank the lawn and landscape community for making GIE Plus Expo their place to reunite as an industry. Like a family reunion, thousands of dealers, landscape pros, and contractors return annually to network, share ideas, learn best practices, and make new friends. It all starts Wednesday, October 20th with the opening reception and continues into the night with free concerts in downtown Louisville. At the show, you'll have the opportunity to share experiences and brainstorm new approaches to your business challenges with friends and like-minded professionals. You don't want to miss the opening keynote, Secrets of Being an Effective Leader, presented by retired Navy 4-star Admiral James Stavridis. Register now at GIE-expo.com, and we'll see you October 20th through the 22nd in Louisville.
Hey Turfs Up Radio fans, do you know what time it is? That's right, it's Turfs Up Radio time. Now you can hear the latest updates in green industry news, services and technology. Learn about new products all while enjoying the best music. If you don't believe me, then ask my good friend Alexa. Just say launch Turfs Up Radio.
Attention all pros. When you leave a deal with your clients, don't leave money on the table. Join Turfs Up Nation today and partner with pros all across the country who can help you make more money for services that are related to your project. Landscapers need plumbers, and pool installers need hardscapers, and every combination in between. Turfs Up Nation is free. Your information is secure, and you will be connected with other pros in the industry that want to do business with you. Not to mention property owners who need help with just about everything. If you think your clients don't need you and the connections you have, think again. Join turfsupnation.com today and start putting more money in your pocket for services you never knew you could. To sign up for this free service, go to turfsupnation.com.
All right. Welcome back to Lighting for Profits here from the Landscape Lighting Secrets Studio on Turfs Up Radio. Gosh, that was a lot of fun, you guys. I hope you were taking notes. I've learned a lot from that man, and I hope you will too. Before we close up, I want to leave you with my lighting tip of the week, and it actually ties in quite nicely. I was just like thinking about the topic that I wrote down, and it tied in nicely. You never know where the combo is going to go, but John was passionate about customer service and over-delivering and doing what you say you're going to do and then some, right? And so one of the things I want to talk about is, he mentioned us doing demos in the early days and stuff like that. But, a lot of people claim to be passionate about design and customer service and all this, but then I'll ask them about their walkthroughs at night. Like, well, I don't do a nighttime walkthrough. And honestly, I want to give you that as the tip, is like, do a nighttime walkthrough of every job, because that is one of the ways that you can over deliver. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you want to do it, but it's necessary if you want to make sure that your work of art is complete. Okay. I mean, you can flag it, you can make sure the lights are in the right spot, but if they're not aimed right, if you're going to work in the industry, if you're going to be a landscape lighting person, then you need to have someone in charge of your nighttime walkthroughs. Nights, they kind of got to be your thing, right? You want to sleep in the morning or something, that's fine, but you got to be out at night doing these tweaks, right? And so 2 reasons why I'm big fan of the nighttime walkthrough. And I understand why it's like, man, I don't want to do that. I want to drive back out there or whatever. And so, depending on the time of the year, you can actually do multiple nighttime walkthroughs. Like right now, it gets late. Like in Utah, it's like 9:30, super late, right? Right now is when it's getting dark. But in certain, in the winter months, you could perform, not winter, but spring and fall, you could do 2 to 3 nighttime walkthroughs in the night. You don't have to stay there all night. You could be there for even 20, 30 minutes, right? But the reason why I really want to make sure you guys are doing those is because it does one, it helps you make sure that your project looks like it's supposed to. You got things aimed right. You got the proper lights. Like sometimes you go do a walkthrough and it's like, wait, why is that light look off? Well, it's a different color temperature. Well, something happened, whether you ordered it wrong or installed the wrong one or whatever it is that you didn't know during the day, right? And make sure your shadows are right. Just make sure everything's working properly. I've gone and done a nighttime walkthrough before, and the guys forgot to hook up a couple lights. Like, how did that happen, right? And the homeowners like, it looks great, we love it. They don't know. You got to remember, homeowners think solar lights look great. So asking them like, how does it look? And they're like, we love it. It's so amazing. That doesn't mean much, right? So you want them to be happy, but it really doesn't mean much. So you guys need to go out there and double check your work and make sure it looks like you really want it to look. And it's going to be so good that it's going to get people's attention, slowing down in front of their house going, wow, look at the lighting, look at that place, right? And then the second reason why it's important to do a nighttime walkthrough is you get more time, okay, more face time with the client. And this is huge. This is huge for growing your business because it improves your relationship. It leads to a better relationship, right? And relationships lead to more business. I mean, quite frankly. So you're going to get more referrals to their neighbors and their friends and family and everything. And you're going to get repeat business from them. Okay. Maybe you did their front yard today and you go do that walkthrough. They're going to be like, wow, these guys are serious. I mean, these guys are all in. They're coming and adjust these things at night. They're going to be a lot more likely to, have you back to do the lights in the back. So make sure you guys are doing this. It's super important. I understand why you don't want to do it, but you got to understand why you should be doing it. So again, don't trust the client. If they're like, it looks good, they think solar lights look good. So don't trust them. You're giving them way too much credit. They think that the solar stuff, it looks fine. Right. And so I had someone tell me that they used a flashlight app to light a Japanese maple, and they said that they thought that looked good. So again, don't trust the client. Go out there, do your walkthrough. I promise you guys, you're going to see, you're going to get more referrals, and your business is going to grow. You're going to have better relationships with people. So, guys, I guess that's pretty much it for today. I want to thank my guest, John Caldwell with J. Caldwell Custom Pools, for coming on. He's a good friend of mine. and has helped me grow tremendously as a person and as a business owner. So I hope you guys took notes and apply what he taught you. And go out there and cold call. Go get some referral partners and do what you can to grow your business, guys. You guys have a great week, and always remember to keep moving forward.